Oh, right. Whew, let's get this done. Okay, so if you're new to the whole Sony mirrorless cameras, the amount of options on them can be somewhat overwhelming. At least it was for me when I kind of made the transfer, or I mean, still in the process of actually transferring over. But that's not the point. The point is, these cameras have way more options than the actual DSLRs that I'm typically used to. So what I'm going to do today is go through basically the settings that I've programmed into the A7 III, because it's one thing that I absolutely require is having access to everything that I need on a wedding day, whether that's continuous focusing like servo if you're a Canon shooter. I'll need to have access to this instantly because I don't want to go through menus to find those options, and it's just going to waste me a lot of time. I just want to go one button to the other and I'm done, and I can continue shooting the day, getting those great pictures for the bride and groom, and ultimately making everybody happy. So as I say, this is all about that, making sure the camera settings are correct so you can shoot all day long without diving into those stupid ass menus. Yeah, enjoy, I'll be back. Boom! And I'm back. Okay, yeah, that's pretty quick, wasn't it? Anyway, so this is we're going to get into the nitty gritty of this camera, and we're going to get into exactly where everything should be. And obviously you can set things up to however you want, it really doesn't matter. But it's just letting you know that there's a lot of options in here and a lot of customization. So I've got my phone set up here. It's a bit shit. This setup's a bit rubbish, I know, but just bear with me. So do this. Okay, so we're in the main menu now. Obviously, I say, what am I even saying? You already know this. You can see it for yourself. But where you want to go is basically on the second one of these and go all the way to number 8. This is where most of the customization is going to be. It's where all the fun stuff happens, basically. So go into your custom keys, and as you can see here, custom 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. The control wheel, I just find that controlling this here just makes it so easy for the ISO compensation, etc. It just makes it so much easier. So I've got ISO here, I'll have the aperture here, and the shutter speed on the front, and it just gives me control over the 3 main features. Brilliant. So for the first one, custom button 1, this one just up here, excuse my thumb, I've got that for flash compensation. It's just nice to have, really easy. So number 2, again just up here, which is my focus area. Number 3 over here, just basically the focus modes, basically. I keep saying basically, I must stop doing that. But you've got like obviously your auto, your single point. I just leave it in continuous, and I'll explain that in a second why. Going back into the custom menus, silent shooting. Now this is definitely useful for weddings. So I've got it down here on number 4. So I can just turn it on and off really, really simply. This is perfect for churches. Let's get the focus back on this thing. Because obviously the vicars do not want me running around making lots of noise. So silent shooting, absolute must from me personally. Anyway, those are the boring bits. Let's go on a little bit. This basically the multi-function thing. I've got it on standard. What this basically means is I can move this around, nice and simply. And then if I click on it, it goes back to the center. Super useful. Don't change it at all, because you'll find it a nightmare to find out what it was originally. My center button, now this is where things get a little bit more in depth. So let's go into this. As you can see, you've got recall, custom 1, 2, and 3. You've only got 3 of these, so use them wisely. So if I go into this one, because this is one I've got set, and you'll see all these different modes here, and basically you've got to activate them. You've got to put the tick in there. But you can actually change them if you click on it and you go through all these, and there's lots of different options. But as you can see, I haven't got any of them enabled until you get down here. Remember, this is for this center button right here. So I've got the metering mode on center, focus mode on continuous autofocus, and lock on autofocus, and obviously to activate the autofocus. And basically what this will do is lock onto subjects that I want them to, more in the center of the frame. So bride and groom walking down the aisle, for example, that's probably the best example. Or maybe they're doing what we call a walk and talk, and I just want to make sure the focus stays on them at all times. It's super useful, and I've got access to this that feature basically instantly. All I have to do on the back of the camera, imagine this, so it's up to my face, I just need to press on this button and it will just lock onto them. See how it changes straight away? You got a little box and that will just lock onto them. Super easy, awesome. It's definitely one I'd recommend. Left button. So I haven't changed actually. So the drive mode, the display, and the ISO buttons, I've left those basically on. This is one, obviously down here you can't see anything written on there. So let's go back out here. God, this is dull and boring, isn't it? So you got the lock on basically feature. So you can just find an object, lock onto it. The camera will know what it is. So even if you move your camera off center, it will still basically track it. Nice little feature. It's not something I use overly much, even on when I had the A6000, A7 II, and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so the third option. This is where things get even better. So back into this Recall Custom, and this is for, let me go just back one. So there's the AEL button. Now these two buttons are going to be your main kind of back button for autofocus. So the Recall one, what have I got on this? So again, nothing selected until you get down here. So I want this basically single focus point, so I can focus, recompose. That's what I'm setting this one up for. So focus mode, single shot, autofocus, flexible spots, and that will be on the flexible spot small, so it represents more of what a DSLR is going to be. And then it's got your autofocus on naturally. So again, so when I've pressed this one down, I'm just going to lock onto whatever the subject is, and it's going to work basically like a DSLR, and that's perfect for me. Okay, so we're back into here, and we're on, look, you've got eye autofocus, and let me go into these. So eye autofocus is on the AF on, and how you set this up is just go into here. You're going to have lots of different options. So this is in the same kind of area as your custom Recall ones, and you look up here, there's 22 pages of this, so it's a staggering amount of things, but I've just got it on eye autofocus, nice and easy, and that works brilliantly for me. I don't have to worry about it. So if I'm just shooting and I just basically single point autofocus and I'm shooting the bride and groom, I just hold it there. Or if I want like a servo mode, I just hold it there. And this gives me instant access to everything that I typically need. So is there anything else in here that I can really go into? The focus hold button. Now you might be asked a question, well, what is that? It's this button here on the lens that obviously is compatible with that. Not all lenses will have this, some will, some won't, so yeah, take it for what it is. You'll notice that basically nothing I've got on here is for video. I don't shoot video, so I'm not really fussed about it. You can't change the video button up here. Unfortunately, that is just dedicated for video. And that's pretty much everything in a nutshell. Yeah, it is what it is from that point of view. And the function button here, I should probably go through this just super quickly before I bore you to tears with this kind of stuff. Or, I don't know, maybe you find this super interesting. So, anyway, without talking too much, drive mode, my focus mode, face priority. So I generally have this off at the moment because, again, I can just switch to eye autofocus just on here in a quick flick of the button, and obviously this is my back button focusing like a DSLR. Exposure compensation, I mean, these ones are, you can change because you've got the exposure compensation just up here, so you don't really need that one. Auto ISO, I do shoot a lot of auto ISO. I know some people don't, so it's completely up to you. Metering mode, I've got it set on to just multi, just to make it nice and simple. Oh god, let's go back into this. Your memory cards as well, which one it prioritizes to, is it 1 or 2, and they'll be in there. Okay, nice and simple. I will go into the memory cards and how to set those up in just a second, so just bear with me. The touchscreen operation is absolute rubbish on this camera. Sony just dropped the ball on this. They I don't know, maybe they had a tea break and they forgot to actually, I don't know, program the touchscreen because it's just rubbish. It's just, don't even bother with it. autofocus, auto white balance, but I've got the priority set to white because obviously the brides wear white dresses, so it kind of makes sense. Flash compensation, again, as I said, I've got flash compensation just up here, so I don't need to dive into this at all, and flash mode. So you got all this kind of stuff. Perfect. Obviously the flash compensation. So when you have got a compatible flash on here, just cycle through these really quickly, and it works very, very well. Okay, so now we get onto the fun bit of setting up your memory cards, because you'd think sticking 2 memory cards in here, it's just going to perhaps write to both instantly. Not the case. Not the case at all. Let's go into this. Okay, so we want to go to your setup page. Where is that? That's here, and we got to go to the 6th page down here. Record media settings is the one you want. This one at the top for your memory cards. So you go into here and you see all this rubbish. I mean, why can't they just have it a lot simpler? But this is the way Sony have chose, so we have to live with it. So you click on this, slot 1 obviously, or you can obviously just go to slot 2, and that prioritizes which card slot. I don't understand why they do it. Just record to both. It just makes it simpler. So you see on here, I can set it to just record video or stills. Obviously I want stills, but look down here. Okay, it's still got stills and video. So if I change it over to the prioritize of 1, that will switch over up here. But let's say I put this to, sorry about that, standard. Look what it does. It gets rid of slot number 2. So it's only recording stuff to slot number 1. That's annoying. So we want that on both. And now it's going to record raw files to both of these memory cards. And that's what you want. If you don't do this, guys, you will not record raw files to both card slots. They should make this so much easier. I don't play around with this auto switch because basically what it says is once you've filled up one memory card, it's going to switch to the other. I want to record to both simultaneously, basically. So it's overly complex. It doesn't need to be like this. I don't know why Sony have done it, but they have. So this is what we've got to live with, and it doesn't even make sense. Like I say, you've got to call record media settings. It's a random name again. I don't understand why Sony's done this, but it is what it is from that point of view. So remember, go in here and you want your basically these to look like this. So slot 1 or slot 2, make sure that they're on the RAW settings. So I don't want RAW and JPEG or RAW, JPEG, etc, etc. I want these. Cool. So I hope that helped you guys. Let's get rid of that. Don't need that recording anymore. As I said, there's so much you can do with these cameras, and it's just mind-numbing the amount of options on this. It's crazy, but as I say, get your main focus kind of options on here. I have them set up the way I do because I want super quick access. So if a bride and groom are basically just about to walk down the aisle, I can just move my thumb, I'm locked onto them, and I know I'm going to get perfect focus. Same again with the eye autofocus or single point autofocus. They're already set. The reason why I've got basically the camera in continuous, so again, I can just hold this button down, it's going to just follow them. It does work so well. Because I've got the back button focus to single point, which isn't continuous, it's just focus, that's it. Then I've got everything covered that I need. Again, there's nothing on here for video that I'm doing, so your settings will vary, or you might even want to put the eye autofocus there and the back button focus there. Feel free to go for it. It's completely up to you, but it just gives you a little bit of an insight onto what the options on this camera are like. I'm still working my way around this camera, so there's probably some tweaking to do naturally, but so far it's been a very, very good camera. It's early days, and I'm looking forward to actually doing a review. As yet, Adobe still hasn't updated Camera Raw. There is a hack for it out, but I probably don't recommend doing that. I have done it by myself, but I don't recommend doing it at all because it's just a pain in the arse, really. Anyway, I'm going to stop boring you now, and I'll catch you next time.